You're listening to a production of the National Media Archive. To learn more or volunteer, go to nationalmediaarchive.com.
Let's kick things off with a question. What transforms a simple skateboard into a revolution on wheels? Well, add a motor, toss in some lithium-ion batteries, and suddenly you're not just skating, you're surfing the modern wave of micromobility. Micromobility, by the way, is the big umbrella term for lightweight electric vehicles, think scooters, e-bikes, and of course, electric skateboards. They're all about solving the last mile problem, getting you from the train station to your office or from your home to the grocery store without a car. Now, you might be thinking, aren't e-skateboards just toys? But here's the twist. Since the 1970s, inventors have been electrifying boards, but only recently have they become mainstream thanks to better motors and smarter battery packs. This surge in popularity isn't just about tech, it's about culture. Millennials and Gen Z are uploading TikToks while cruising, making these boards a statement piece as much as a vehicle. So, what made one brand, Boosted, rise above the rest and push this movement into the spotlight? Let's roll back to the start. Picture this. A group of Stanford engineering students in 2012, Sanjay Daster, John Ullman, and Matthew Tran dreaming of a portable, lightweight electric skateboard. Out came the Boosted board, a blend of brushless DC motors and lithium polymer batteries. Now, what's a brushless DC motor? Think of it as a super efficient engine, no friction, less wear, more power. And lithium polymer? It's a battery tech that packs a punch without the bulk, letting Boosted keep things light and slim. They weren't just tinkering in a garage. Boosted was accepted into StartX, Stanford's own accelerator program, and wowed investors with a Kickstarter campaign. Their 100-0 goal? Smashed in 24 hours, finishing with over 460 zero pledged. Here's where it gets interesting. Not only did they catch the eye of crowdfunding backers, but also the legendary Y Combinator, which helped launch tech giants like Dropbox and Airbnb. With this momentum, Boosted was set to take on the world. But the journey from idea to icon was just getting started. Let's fast forward to 2014. Boosted launches its first products, the single, dual, and dual yawn boards. Each use different motor configurations, 1 or 2 motors affecting speed, range, and, naturally, price. Early adopters called them the Apple of e-boards. Why? Their attention to detail and user-friendly wireless control system. Imagine controlling your speed with a handheld remote, using radio frequency signals, no clunky buttons, just smooth acceleration and braking. But here's the conflict. These weren't cheap toys. Prices started at around 1 way above the competition. You might ask, who would pay that? Well, turns out plenty of people did. Boosted's quality and sleek design earned them a cult following. Online forums, YouTube channels, group rides, you name it, Boosted was front and center. Their formula was working. Premium engineering plus premium branding, but high expectations can be a double-edged sword. Let's see how celebrity influence supercharged their rise. Now let me tell you a story about viral marketing. Enter Casey Neistat, one of YouTube's biggest stars. He didn't just ride a Boosted board, he made it part of his daily vlogs, reaching millions. Remember the Aladdin magic carpet prank? Casey skated around New York on a Boosted board disguised as a flying carpet. It racked up over 28 million views and left bystanders and viewers wondering, what is he riding? This wasn't just free advertising. It was social proof. When a trusted influencer demonstrates a product, people listen. Marketing agencies call this the endorsement effect. And for Boosted, it translated to a massive sales spike. Here's the setup. A cool product. The conflict? What happens if that influencer moves on? The resolution? For now, Boosted was riding high, but over-reliance on one marketing channel is risky. So what happens when the first technical hiccups hit? Let's burn some rubber literally. In early 2016, Boosted faced a literal firestorm. Reports surfaced of board smoking, batteries overheating, and even filling apartments with toxic fumes. Lithium-ion batteries, while powerful, can become dangerous if punctured or overcharged, a phenomenon called thermal runaway. Let's imagine you're Rick Bross, an avid Boosted user. Your roommate shouts, "You're bored smoking, viral video opportunidor disaster." Roz grabbed his gas mask, filmed the chaos, and uploaded it to Reddit. Boosted's response? Immediate. They contacted the users, offered replacements, and even flew their CEO to meet affected customers. That's crisis management in action, but the conflict wasn't over. Eventually, Boosted issued a full recall, halting sales right at the height of the holiday season. Production stopped for 2 months, devastating for a startup reliant on seasonal sales. The resolution? Boosted owned up, fixed the quality control issues, but the financial and reputational damage lingered. Could they recover? Every startup faces growing pains, and Boosted was no exception. In 2017, founder Sanjay Daster stepped down as CEO, replaced by Jeff Rusackow, another Stanford alum, signaling a shift toward aggressive growth. Rusackow doubled the workforce. 160 employees moved into a new HQ. He expanded employee health benefits and ramped up production of the third-generation boards, featuring improved torque and swappable battery packs. Torque, by the way, is just rotational Forcia key for hill climbing. With a 450% growth rate, the company seemed unstoppable. But here's the tension. Scaling up is expensive, and the electric skateboard market is still a niche. Rusackow aimed to diversify, launching cheaper boards like the Boosted Mini, hoping to attract a broader audience. The resolution? More products, more markets, more risk. Was this a smart bet or a dangerous gamble? Boosted's next big move? Entering the crowded electric scooter market with the Boosted Rev. Unlike most scooters, the Rev was built like a tank steel frame, pneumatic tires, and a regenerative braking system that captures energy while stopping. Regenerative braking is a bit like recharging your phone. Every time you hit the brakes, energy that would be wasted is instead stored back in the battery. But the Rev had a conflict. At 1/600 and weighing 46 pounds, it wasn't exactly Porte-Blair affordable. Still, investors poured in $60 million, betting Boosted could crack the scooter code. Production was set up in China, leveraging economies of scale, meaning the more you produce, the cheaper each unit gets. But outsourcing comes with risks. The Rev's launch was ambitious, but, as we'll see, global politics had other plans. Here's where macroeconomics crashed the party. The US-China trade war kicked in, slapping tariffs on imported goods, including Boosted's China-made products. Tariffs are taxes on imports, meant to protect domestic industries, but for companies like Boosted, they meant higher cost and thinner margins. Suddenly, a 1/600 scooter could cost hundreds more to make. Boosted applied for tariff exclusions, but government reimbursements were slow. Cash flow dried up, and vendors some owed over 100 grew restless. You might be thinking, why not just move production elsewhere? But shifting factories is like moving a house brick by brick, slow, costly, and risky. As competitors from Asia flooded the market with cheaper scooters, Boosted's advantage eroded. The setup, global ambitions, the conflict, economic headwinds, the resolution, it wasn't looking good. By late 2019, the warning lights were flashing. Boosted's payroll was huge. Most of its 150 employees were engineers, drawing Silicon Valley salaries. The company cut perks, even asking staff to bring their own lunches. It might sound trivial, but when free lunches disappear in tech, it's often a sign of deeper trouble. Morale dropped, and key leader CMO, VP of Engineering, VP of Quality all left in quick succession. High fixed costs, shrinking cash, and relentless competition from reverse-engineered knockoffs, these are the classic symptoms of a business in distress. Reverse engineering, by the way, means taking a finished product apart to replicate it, often for less money. Boosted's unique designs couldn't stay secret forever. The conflict was clear: survive or collapse. The resolution? Let's see how the final act unfolded. In March 2020, it became official. Boosted laid off most of its workforce and announced it was seeking a buyer. Despite millions in investment, viral fame, and a beloved product, the company couldn't overcome capital intensity and manufacturing headaches. Capital intensity means it takes a ton of money just to stay afloat. Think factories, R&D, logistics. Even giants like Tesla struggle here. Now, you might ask, could Boosted have survived by cutting costs more or pivoting faster? Hindsight is always 20/20, but the real lesson is this: hardware startups face brutal economics. Great design isn't enough if you can't scale or adapt. So, if you're dreaming of launching your own hardware brand, remember, it's not just about having the coolest idea or the slickest logo, it's about mastering supply chains and managing cash flow under pressure. In the end, Boosted Story is a microcosm of Silicon Valley brilliant ideas, bold risks, and sometimes spectacular crashes. But every failure plants seeds for the next wave of innovation.